I could definitely feel the difference, and I knew I had to get back on track. If you're dealing with fatigue, pain, or even chronic issues, you owe it to yourself to give it a try. They even offer a $49.99 introductory session and consultation. Call and get started at any of their 3 metro locations. Check out hyperchargeclinic.com and tell them Jennifer from AM 950 sent you. That's hyperchargeclinic.com.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at MIWRC's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to MIWRC's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at MIWRCsbeef.com.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP, along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for rain throughout tonight with a low around 44. Wednesday, more rain with a high near 51. And Thursday, sunny with a high near 65. With Natural Lawn, you get more than lawn care, you get peace of mind. Their eco-friendly approach uses safer products, fewer chemicals, and expert soil testing for a lush, healthy lawn. No contracts ever. They even blow off your sidewalks and driveways after each visit. Go green with Natural Lawn. More at naturallon.com.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Yes, they do. Hey, we are back, and anybody that was watching us live on Facebook, we have opened up a new link to Blue Sky, Facebook, YouTube, and X. So come on and join us and check out my nice new medallion that was gifted to me.
That was beautiful beaded medallion there, Dega.
It's got an eagle in there.
An eagle or a chashep. For Ho Chunk, we say chashep. Oh, pretty. I like the bright colors on that. It was that. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Thank you. I can't wait for my birthday because things like that come my way in the birthday too.
That's true.
So how is the weather there? I mean, I don't want to revert to the weather, but how's the weather there? Because we had major downpour here in Wisconsin, in Madison, specifically.
It's still pretty rainy. It's still very cold. And I'm not sure. I've been trying to keep an eye on how those wildfires are doing up in the northeastern part of the state, but I think they've been getting some rain also. Hoping for the temps to get better.
One of our friends up there, a documentary person that I did not realize had a home up there, her place was burned down, and I just I don't want to say her name and embarrass her, but I just want to say that I definitely put tobacco down, and that's a sad situation.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah. Take care of your relatives and check in on those that are living up and near the reservations like Fond du Lac and I think was it like Boys Fort around that area too.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, we have our friend Dr. Stately, who's CEO and president of a Native American community clinic here in the Twin Cities in Minneapolis. And geez, there's must be so much going on there with the clinic and the new clinic, and just to really happy for the community to have this going on. And Dr. Stately, welcome. Haley and I were kind of talking about again, the history of Native American Month here in Minnesota and how much AIM really brought to the table. And we know your mother, your late great mother, was involved heavily with the AIM, and we just wanted to bring that up to you because I know you have a lot of stories, and this is part of their legacy.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's trying to remember, I guess, like my earliest memories of like American Indian Month is like it started in the, I feel like it started in the early 70s, like 73, 74, something like that. Anyway, I was a little punk when that thing started happening. I say punk because, I was like 12 or 13 and I was like on the Ave and
smoking, having a cigarette.
Oh, I probably was smoking by then. Yeah, that's true. I was smoking cigarettes by then, That's something I learned while I was in, I was going to say I learned it in boarding school, which I did. I got in trouble one time. I stole a package of Old Gold, a carton of Old Gold cigarettes off of a like a priest's front.
Jeez.
his front seat in his car. He had it was a Rambler. I was able to get in the car and I stole the carton of cigarettes, and then we ran up into the hills, and me and my friends smoked almost in like a good 3 or 4 packs.
Whoa.
Oh my goodness, those cartons are expensive.
Well, not back then. They were.
They were 28 cents a pack, Ben said.
Yeah, they were like $5 for 10 packets.
Oh gosh.
So if you used to get your cigarettes out of a machine, it was funny. We'd put 30 cents in, and they'd have 2 cents taped to the pack. So when you opened it up, you put 30 cents in, and there was 2 cents taped on the pack for your change.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I always said I was going to quit smoking when it turned 50 cents, and then it was like, oh, now it's 75. Oh, now it's $1. Oh, now it's $4. Finally quit when it got around there. But
that the other day, I said, I remember I could buy a pack of cigarettes for 53 cents. I was in high school.
Wow.
Well, it was like the 70s, and something got, I remember, do you remember the energy crisis in the 70s, late 70s? A gallon of gas was like 78 cents, and people were like, "Oh my God, it's so."
People were lined up, filling up their tanks because the end of the world was happening.
Yeah.
I want to back up a second though, and just make a mention of this. When AIM really had their office on Franklin Avenue and things were starting, there was bars everywhere. I mean, the scope. Just the scope, how much that changed, Dr. Stately.
Well, when I was 23 years old, I was like about 3 months sober or 4 months sober, and February of 1985 or 86. I moved to Los Angeles. I was 23 years old. I got sober in October of 25. And I remember there were still a bunch of bars here on Franklin Avenue, like all the bars that I kind of grew up with, Bear's Den, Arts was still here. The Corral was still here. Some of the other, Bliss Liquors was right there across from the Indian Center. It's kind of like where I'd stop in and get my supplies for the weekend on payday. And there was all this like right here on Franklin Avenue and within the corridor, there was like 5 or 6 bars, And so when I came back in 2009, when I moved back home with my children, I came back to Minnesota after being gone for about 20-some years, 23 years, 24 years. It was just so different. It's just really, really different. Right. And that was one of the notable things. And it's like, that's a remarkable thing that we don't often talk about, is like how we were able to get those, the community was able to get those bars out of our community. Right. And transform that work. And, but also I remember I was just trolling through some of my old pictures from because I'm making a post. My kids turned 18 on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I turned 64 on Saturday.
Oh, wow. Gosh, so you're 3 times the age they are.
Quick math.
And actually a little bit more than 3 times. But the point being, who was counting? But I was going through the thing. I saw pictures. I saw a picture of my mom and my dad. This really old, cool black and white picture of my mom and my dad, and my Auntie Jeanette and Dennis Banks on a couch, from like black and white picture from like early days. It would have been probably in the early 60s, maybe 60 or 61. Certainly before I was born, because my mom and my dad were separated and divorced by the time I was born. So it was before I was born.
Wow.
In 62. But, just like going through a bunch of old pictures of, those relatives of mine that were all kind of alive at the end of the 50s and the early 60s when that work was just kind of starting. I was talking to somebody the other day about how, my memories of some of that when I was a young kid, living in the southeast projects over there by the Witch's Hat, and how I would remember Dennis and the Belcourt brothers, my uncles, Vernon and Clyde, and Mitch and a bunch of other people would come over to my mom's house, and they all go down into the basement. My mom would stop, because I was the curious kid. I was I wanted to know what was going on. I was that kid, on Friday and Saturday nights, if I was in my bedroom and they were in the living room playing cards and drinking and having fun, I'd be laying, at the bottom of my floor looking like I'd pull the sheet up, because we didn't have doors in my house. We had sheets over the doorways, and I would look under the sheet and try to figure out who was who based on their shoes and them walking back and forth, the sound of their voices. But those are memories that I have of people, just all those times that they would come over to our house and my mom would be like, stay up here, don't come down here, this is adult business, we're talking adult talk here, and I just remember, and you're just a kid and you're all these people, all these relatives are coming over, and they're eating soup and having long conversations in the basement, and you think, God, I wonder what they're talking about. I was that kid. I wanted to know what adults were talking about, because I knew they were talking about important stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And here, they're having conversations about early planning for CIA, Concerned Indians of America, right? Which we eventually became American Indian. And just those are my earliest memories as a child. I also think about how I was at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, kind of that period of time in my life when the corridor was, I remember when the Indian Center was built and it first opened up. I was a young man, a young boy, maybe 12 or 13 years old. And I remember, when Ancient Traders Market was built, this shopping mall that NACC is in, remember all those things. And I remember my mom traveling and going all over the place, going all over the state, going to DC, going to Denver to talk about ICWA and all these things. I had no understanding at all as a small young boy what that was all about. I didn't. Who would know that any of that work that my mom and all those other leaders in our community that were doing in the early 70s, the foundation that they were laying for the things that we have in our lives today, right? And no. So
amazing. Hey, that's awesome. We're going to talk more with Dr. Stately, and we're going to be right back. This is Native Roots Radio.
Signing up for $1 bus and train rides with the Transit Assistance Program, or TAP, is quick and easy. Do it straight from your computer or phone by uploading one of the pre-approved documents listed at metrotransit.org/TAP. along with a copy of your ID. We'll mail you a to-go card with a full year of discounted rides. For questions or translation help, call 612-373-3333. 612-373-3333.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
The Council on LGBTQIA2S+ Minnesotans is conducting a community needs survey. Two-spirit and Native queer voices are sacred and must be heard. Your experiences will guide programs and policies that support our relatives across Minnesota. The survey is confidential and available at mnqt.info/survey. The deadline is May 31st. Honor your story, help build the future we deserve.
Rudy Luther Toyota has a great way for you to purchase your next vehicle. It's the Toyota Smart Path. You can shop at the dealership or on your couch. Shop smarter by saving time, and remember, they'll have the best prices and no surprises. You can browse the available vehicles, use the Smart Path payment estimator to customize your own payments, apply for financing, and then finalize your purchase. Smart Path is the smartest path to your new vehicle. Check it out online at rudyluthertoyota.com or stop by Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our Minnesota wolf population. Say no to the hunts. How?
No. Hey, we're here with Dr. Stately, CEO and president of Native American Community Clinic. Hey, I got a quick question I want to jump on and ask you real quick before we get back to kind of the history of Franklin again. That was really interesting, but I wanted to mention this to you that during Pride, we're going to do a live show at Pride on Saturday at 1 o'clock. And I'm wondering if you can come down there, if you're going to be around, because we're going to have a special co-host too. Jace Rowe is going to be on, and he's a huge TikToker. So it'd be great to have you both on. Yeah, it'd be great to have both you on if you're in the city.
I'd be happy to if I'm in the city. There might be a small chance that I'm in Los Angeles that week.
Well, we might have to bribe you with a Resist shirt or something.
the same Resist shirt that you give me in the last 2 years.
Well, it'll be newer. It won't be used.
The one that like is all sparkly and
yeah.
My favorite one.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, it is lovely. You know, you really need to update your swag there, dude.
Okay, we'll get you a Resist hat.
I'll beat it for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'll get that. A beaded Resist hat. That sounds lovely.
There you go, Haley.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to. I'm embarrassed to say I don't even know the dates for Pride this year.
The 20th of June.
The 20th of June. I'm pretty sure I'm gone that week, actually, now that I think about it.
I know, I am too. I didn't even put that in my calendar. I did book a camping trip the same weekend.
You know, somebody has really got to talk to these gays. I'm just kidding.
It's probably like the same weekend every year.
It is. But you know what? Actually, I think there is this thing where like all the major cities, like every 4 years or something like that, or every 5 years, I forget what it is. Anyway, had some like regular, consistent calendar of some type. They all have them on the same day.
Oh.
And that's kind of like an intentional thing to sort of like show like the strength and the power of like, you know, how big the gay community and how big the supporters of gay communities are. So that's always a really remarkable thing. I remember one of my first times being back here in Minnesota after I moved home. I took my sons, who were very, very small, 3 or 4 years old, I think, to a gay pride festival. And yeah, my son wanted to know like what that guy was wearing and why he didn't have any underwear on. And he was wearing chaps. Stuff like that. I was like, well, maybe we should probably bring these guys back when they're about 7 or 8. So you can have like a thoughtful conversation with them about what's going on. But it was one of those. I think it was that event where it was like like Milwaukee, Chicago, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, all the big cities, the big huge cities. They all had their gay pride on the exact same day, which was like such. I remember seeing it on the news how remarkable it was. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a good chance that I'll be able to make it, but I know we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, that beaded hat, that beaded hat, Haley's gonna make you.
That would be, that could be a deal breaker for, I'm on the chair of this board for a large Native clinic in Los Angeles that we're having our retreat. So, but I'll have to see what they can offer me. If they can offer me something that's
not an old resist shirt, right?
Something better.
Not an old
start low.
Shirt, yeah.
I have a question for you, Dr. Stately, not to change the subject or anything, because this is really funny. But I remember you saying this, I think last time you were on, and you were saying your allergies were bad. And it just made me think, I had a question because I have always gotten bad allergies. Is that a thing for Native Americans to get seasonal allergies? And then what do we do that helps?
Well, I mean, it's a thing for anybody who's a human being, because I mean,
okay, so that answers my question.
I mean, the biological structure of I love when people ask that question. They're always like, well, is there like a biological connection? I was, well, first of all, let's just be really clear. Like, we're biologically the same as every other person on the planet. There's about 99.6% of us that's biologically similar. There's about maybe, I don't know, 0.5 to let's just go with between 0.5 or 0.5% to 1% of us that makes us biologically a little bit different. It's important to know that DNA is not the same as the things that our cellular structures and stuff like that. So we are the same as, but what's really important is to know that, that 0.5 or that 0.1% of who we are as Indigenous people, that thing that makes up our culture, our life ways, the things that our knowledge systems, the way that we, the worldview we have makes us very, 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 very different from the rest of the planet in some really unique ways.
So biologically,
none of that has any governance over your allergies, however.
So biologically, we are unique, just like everybody else.
Yeah, I mean,
so you develop like a resistance of it depending on where you are in the turtle.
No, I mean, a lot of that has more to do with your environment and your relationship to the environment. So I'm allergic to cats and dogs, which is really ironic because I have 4. I have 2 cats, 2 dogs. And so I basically live on Zyrtec and the other one. So I take one in the morning, one at night, so that I can basically, survive and not, die from not being able to breathe. Because I love these little creatures that have become like little family members to me.
Yes.
And then, I'm always vacuuming my house, and I bought myself a little Shark air filter thing that's supposed to just filter my whole entire house, and all the things that we go through. And then right now your allergies are bad because there's been a big shift in the weather, and we had a couple of different fits and starts with winter and summer, the buds came out early, and then they closed because it was actually too cold. It was 2 warm weeks and then freezing cold, and then 2 warm weeks, and now it's cold again and rainy. So, but it's also been really super windy, like really, really windy. So all that pollen is blowing all over the place.
Right.
True.
So it's
And my
like,
toupee's loose too.
yeah, I was going to talk to you about that.
That wind.
So I'll just deal with the ragweed forever.
Oh,
Well, you know what you can do?
oh,
And I mean, if you have good insurance or you have a little pot of money set aside, you could actually go and get an assessment on your allergies.
Oh,
Like you can have an allergy panel done on you, and you can find out
mhm.
all the things that you're allergic to. And then they can actually give you allergy shot once a month.
oh,
I have considered that because sometimes I'll forget. Like I went to Ireland a couple of
Yeah.
months, you remember, and I went there and I forgot to bring my allergy meds with me. And the first few
Oh.
days I was there, I was fine, and then all of a sudden,
Hmm.
it got that weather shifted and changed, and I started getting. And I also went from one place in Ireland to another place in Ireland, different environment, and I started noticing like my allergies were really acting up, and I didn't have any allergy meds with me.
Well, Dr.
mm.
Stately, thanks again for being on the show, and you're great, and we'll have to do this again.
We will most certainly do it again.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Haley, Dr. Stately, and Ruth Anna Buffalo. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
At Metro Station.